Hi, everybody. It is Penny and Kim, and we are lighting up your Friday once again with the 5 stars of strengthening families. Today, we are going to wrap up our talks on resiliency. We're going to do a little check-in with you, and then we're going to move on to relationships. So our action step that we had for you last week was to do with resiliency. And the question or the action step that we had was to see how you were doing with your check-ins. We were asking you to check in with yourself and see how you were feeling, if you were getting triggered, or if you had any insight in that area, if you were able to feel in your body. Penny, can I ask you how your action step went?
Yeah, so specifically regarding taking things personally, this is something I've been working on as a parent, like since my kids could talk, because it's a hard part of being a parent. It's a hard part of being in any kind of relationship, really, is understanding that other people's stuff is not my stuff. And okay, I did okay. Like I, mentioned earlier, last night we had a bit of a thing about our supper and the word disgusting. So that was a bit of a challenge, but I was able to sort of dial it back and just request that maybe a different word could be used, or you could convey that you didn't think the idea was great with a different word, because calling someone's cooking disgusting is not the kindest thing you can do. So ongoing, always ongoing, Kim.
That's right. And I think I did the same. I think there was some moments where I was like, that didn't feel right. That didn't sit right with me. But the moment, like almost immediately after, I was able to be like, oh, interesting. I wonder why I had that type of reaction to it, And so then I was able to sort of go within, look within, and investigate, or be the detective that you had suggested that we all try this week. So yeah, it's a good little tool. So thank you for suggesting that, Penny.
Well, and I love that curiosity.
So this week,
sorry.
Oh,
I just want to say I love that curiosity thing you said, like the being curious, because when we start to be curious about what's going on, then it's a little easier to let go of the hurt. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's the whole reason behind it. Yeah. So this week we're moving on to the relationship portion, and so did you want to talk a little bit about that, Penny?
Yeah. So these questions, over the next 4 weeks, we will do 4 programs around social connections and relationships and different aspects of that. And again, we'll pose a question and we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll invite you to find a way that you can challenge yourself during the week to somehow incorporate some of these ideas in a way to help you and your family be stronger. So today, Kim and I are going to talk about, what does it mean to you to be a good friend? Now, that can be a good friend to yourself, that can be a good friend to others, that can be, you really can frame that to any kind of relationship, whether it's being good to the earth, being good to your pets, being good to, what are the ideas you have or hold, or your expectations around being the best person you can be in relation to others and your environment. So you can think about it in a lot of different ways. So Kim, I'm going to pose that to you and let you run with that first. So what does it mean to you to be a good friend?
Yeah, I love that, Penny. Starting from within, what does it mean to be a good friend? A relationship, what does it mean to be a good friend in a relationship, whether it's a relationship with yourself, with the earth, with your coworkers, with your, somebody, your friends, your family, all of those things. And I think, gosh, at the top of the list, I think I'd have to put understanding. I think being understanding, it's what we all, I think, yearn for, to be understood. And so then to me, it would mean to be understanding, to understand, to try to understand, to try to put, to walk a mile in my shoes, or to put the shoe on the other foot, or whatever the saying is, you know, so to kind of put yourself in their shoes. I think that's it. and be understanding. To me, that's it in a nutshell. I don't know. What's yours? Or what do you think about being understanding?
Well, yeah. Yeah, there's so many components, and I don't know if I can come up with, you know, sort of one word, because to me, being real, being authentic. So,
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, so either having that space to be myself, but also being vulnerable and courageous enough to tell someone this is me, and
Yeah.
and oh,
Putting yourself out there.
yeah,
It's a vulnerable thing to do.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, everyone. Yeah, so being authentic.
That's okay. This is the world we live in.
This is the authentic me, the one who forgets to put her phone on silent. So that space, and it ties into what you say about understanding, because if my expectation is that that's what I need in a friend, then I want to be that friend. So I want to be the friend who accepts the authenticity of and understands that, okay, well, maybe today is an off day, and yeah, and seeks that out in people, so that the connection can be strong. Yeah, that's kind of.
To me, those two things are hand in hand. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're okay. Just a bit of
The
a lag.
feedback is, there's a little bit of feedback here. I was just going to say, to me, those two things go hand in hand, being understood and being able to be you. So if you are able to be your authentic self, and I understand and see that and know that of you, and still are your good friend, that is the ultimate, really, in relationships, is being able to be, like you say, authentic and vulnerable, and so the other person, you know, truly knows me, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I guess, if that's you know, a saying that you could use here, because those things that we think are ugly, that really aren't. They really are just part of us, right? Those pieces are the ones that we keep hidden, and nobody actually gets to see those, except for we might slip up and show somebody, or we might get brave and vulnerable and be authentic. And then somebody sees that part of us that we worry, oh, if they see that, they maybe don't want to be our friend. But then when we realize they've seen that and they still want to be our friend, or they still love us or care about us, that's I think what we're talking about here. And that's what I also mean by being understood, being known, like you say, and still loved and cared for. That's when you know you've got a good friend.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I guess we beat this drum quite a lot, and it's because it's super important, with the idea that being that to yourself. So accepting those parts of yourself that you might want to improve a little bit on, or and not, when we say accept and love, it doesn't mean excuse the behaviors that come about because of that, but the idea that,
Yeah.
you know, we're all who we are for a reason, and we've lived different stories, and but being a good friend to yourself first then allows you to be able to give that out to other people. And being heard and known and seen as yourself, it really, and I read this somewhere a long time ago, basically feels like love to people. So there's, when you say you use the word love, that's kind of what, that was this person's opinion anyways, that it's so close to being love that the human brain doesn't differentiate. So the ideas of being seen and heard as you are, our brain and our bodies receive that as love. So yeah, I think. Yeah.
And there's something appealing about that, right? That and it's that authenticity that you're talking about, that it just kind of glows when you can be authentic and be you. It's a scary it's a scary thing to do though, right? Because sometimes we're not maybe accepted when we show that part of ourselves that we think is less than desirable, or we're not proud of, or we're embarrassed of, or we've been told is to tone that down. And then we show that to somebody, and it's a scary place to be. But to be accepting and understanding is really, in my opinion, is answers this question: what does it mean to be a good friend? Is to know that we're not all perfect people. There's really no such thing. So when somebody shows you a flaw, is to be understanding and to offer them that, to cut them some slack, and to cut yourself some slack when you're doing it, when you're being hard on yourself.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because it's true. You want to be that soft place for someone to land. And in a couple of weeks, we talk about strong relationships and what that looks like. And so this will, we'll talk a bit more about that there, because that's kind of the foundation of a strong relationship, is being who you are and feeling accepted as who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So for this week, we're going to invite you to think about, didn't really talk about kindness, but I believe that's a kindness. So be kindness as being a good friend. And February happens to be kindness month. So one of the things we want to invite you to do this week is to think about some random acts of kindness, small little things. So can be monetary if that works, paying for someone's order behind you in the drive-through, or not. Maybe just smiling and remembering to smile with your eyes, because masks have hidden our smiles. So yeah, looking people in the face, smiling. I don't know. What other ideas, Kim, do you have that don't cost anything?
Yeah, I like the it always feels good when somebody does that in the drive through ahead of you. But boy, if it's an expensive one, that can really, that's not a kind thing to do to yourself, because if you can't afford it, and so it's always nice to do stuff that's free. And I do like the smiling, and because I know, especially now with that we're wearing the masks. But what I'm noticing is that at first I didn't really recognize people, but now I am much quicker. And it's interesting, because I think now our mind was trained to automatically look here. And I'm noticing people are smiling behind their masks. And at first you thought you couldn't see it, but you can. And it, like you say, it's the eyes, right? The mask sort of shifts just ever so gentle, and you see this smile. So that's my favorite. I think smiling behind the mask, I think, is, it just lights up your face, and you never know what it's going to do for somebody else's day, to just acknowledge that I see you.
Yeah. And I think with service people, that's particularly important. I've made a habit over the last few years of looking them in the eye and smiling and acknowledging that I see them, that they're not just an extension of the cash register or an extension of the drive-through, they're a person. And I think, so let's invite you to try to bring a little kindness into the world around you, to yourself, and to others, and you'd be amazed at how smiling lifts your own spirits. Or maybe you won't be, maybe you're a smiler already. Lots of people are natural smilers. I am not, so it was a practice for me to get into doing that. So yeah, I'll invite you to do that. Excuse me. So we're going to wrap that up for today. Always www.fcss.ca is our website. If you'd like to go on there and look at what other resources are available through Family and Community Support Services, please do. You will find us on the Barons Eureka Warner YouTube page. So BEWFCSS, search us up on YouTube. All of these will be posted on YouTube. And we will see you next week to talk more about relationships and social connections. So thanks for joining us.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, bye everyone.